Welcome back to Project Fast Fish here on Mike's Motorworks, and we're going to continue with what we have going on with the rear quarter panels, and we're also going to start looking at the sail panel and, of course, well, whatever else we need to get up to. It all happens right now here on Project Fast Fish and Mike's Motorworks. Looking at how things are going and have been going thus far since the last video, let's go ahead and show you what happened after the test fit. And we're going to start off by pointing out things like getting the quarter panel set, getting it aligned, that sort of thing. And then we'll move forward to, well, what we have today. So let's go and check out what has happened thus far. Taking a look at these panels before they go on, just wanted to note some of the things we did for prep. Here, we're ready to get those trunk gutters and such, and where it seals into the back quarter panel, welded in here. I'm either going to pinch weld or rosette weld. And then, of course, I went ahead and sealed this in an epoxy coating. And of course got the same treatment over here. Now this is just the underside here. Now there will be later a brace that goes here, so I'll have to grind that off once I get that measured in, but we could do that after the panel is set. Over here, no big changes, but you can see again where we have that that weld through primer ready for the welding process. And of course some rosette welds that I can go ahead and, once the car is on the rotisserie, get up underneath and get those. It'll be a little bit tight squeeze, but I should be able to get those in there, and of course them over here. Let me get that tape off for you here. All right, let's take a look at the other panels. Looking at the sail panel here, again, you can see where things got the treatment with the weld through primer, and then over that went the epoxy, and then here we have our lizard skin sound deadener. And I just did the sound deadener on this panel. Will it receive the thermal treatment? Maybe or maybe not. I haven't decided that yet, but I'll worry about that after the shell is completely done. And after, well, we get it on the rotisserie and getting it close to final assembly here. Now, some of the other prep work I did was under here. Made some holes for my rosette welds, and of course put those spaced out like they were from the factory. And then here is where we have our, not our hinges, but our brackets and braces for the trunk support, okay? And I should be able to get the other tabs that go back here tacked in and what have you. It'll look good, it'll be stable, it'll be awesome, and I look forward to getting this on. Looking at the quarter panels here, you can see where I went ahead and drilled in. Again, I don't have the spot welder, the pneumatic kind, that I trusted to get those done correctly, so I'm going to go ahead and plug weld those, use rosette welds. And got them here where it goes along. This is the part on the door. This is the closest side of the door. So if you're looking at this panel, that's the rear this way. It's the front of the car this way. So this is where it goes against the door itself, and of course sealed up around there. The holes there are for where the trim goes and such, and of course we'll get that brace, that window bracket here. Went ahead and got my holes ready here for where it lines up on the C-pillar, and of course down the window channel. Over here I did not do any plug welds because I got those on the panel. The sail panel goes right here, so those will butt right up against there. And of course, here is where the trunk gutter will go. And I believe I'm going to go ahead and spot weld those there. Over here, you know, it's kind of tight to get the MIG welder into those holes, so I got to figure out what I'm going to do to get that done correctly. And probably involve some sealant of some form. And of course, down here, where the trunk panel extension goes, we got that all prepped and ready. These other spots here, if I miss something, I should be able to get in there with the belt sander and get that sanded if I missed something in here. Of course, treatment-wise, you can see where it received the weld-through primer just on the areas where it's going to get plug welded, and of course, spot welded, right? Went ahead and sealed it in epoxy, and then of course, these also received a layer of lizard skin sound deadener, kind of mirroring or mimicking that factory finish, but being better than that factory finish because it's more than just rubber, all right? It's more than just a rubber undercoat here. And it is definitely more, when they spray the rubber undercoat on, they usually do it after the car is assembled. So you have like, you know, the stuff in the way over here. You can't really get into this area. You got the stuff in the way over here. You can't really get into the area, and they don't really spray up there because everything is all assembled, right? This way, we have a thorough job with that sound deadener, which would help the car not only sound better, as far as with road noise and such, feel more solid, but will also help with any kind of thermal that I decide to do later on. All right, so we have our next fit done, and I've done a lot of work since this fitment, and I just wanted to go over a couple things that we'll be making sure of that we get taken care of as we start to burn some of these panels in. Now, to be completely honest, there will be panels where I burn in right away, and there'll be panels where I wait to burn in, okay? And there's various reasons for that. But one of the things we'll be looking at is overall alignment. Now, I've already talked about this spot here where I need to raise the quarter panel here up to match this. But there's also a concern about this area in here. Let me open this up, which is never any fun because of my larger forearms there. The door alignment right here works kind of interestingly, alrighty? Because what it does is it's a little bit further out here than it is down here. All right, so when you look at the edge of the door here and you close it, all right, I'm not going to do that right now, but it'll basically, after examining it, this side faces this way, this side is kind of in this way. Now, we haven't really adjusted the latch here, okay, and the latch pin. And one of the reasons we haven't done that yet is because it's still in its OEM set, and I didn't really want to mess with it, okay? But now, because we have this off, we'll be able to do some alignment. Now, is that a substitute for making sure everything is aligned? Can I just burn these in? Well, no, again, because I want to make sure that this is raised up here, all right? This goes up. These go a little bit out, no more than, say, like maybe 1/8 to maybe 3/16 of an inch, okay? And then this is flush up against the metal down here as far as that can go, okay? So if I were to close the door, you would see that there would be some good alignment there. Up here, we're ready to go for those rosette welds, and of course, the roof skin will go on top of that, okay? Up here, all right, there's still some issue there, okay? But here's the deal, okay? I know that I can get this closer into place once I, get everything going. So I'll be able to mash this in, get more clamps on it, so on and so forth. I did put the trunk lid on here because I wanted to get a basic sense for how is it aligning. Is the angle right in here? Are things right over here? Now, if you're looking at this saying, oh, Mike, oh, good Lord, sir, you have this big gap here. Well, yeah, I haven't put the seals on yet, right? I'm not going to, okay? But I just wanted to get an idea for how everything was in alignment. And you can see overall, it's pretty darn awesome, all right? So I got some wiggle room there, so I'm confident that'll go in well when it comes time to put that in. Now, because of where I could put the welds and get to with the welder. Okay, there's parts where I can get to and parts where, well, they're a little bit more difficult. In this area right here, I showed you earlier, it's really difficult to get in there like I need to. And I could probably do some tacks and such to keep that in place, okay, which I will probably do, okay, but I did want to make sure that it's in there as good as possible, so I'll probably run some adhesive into here, okay, and maybe even on the whole thing. We'll see. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Down here in a few minutes, I'm going to start burning this in. I'm going to run some Colecos to kind of help pull this panel out in here, because I don't have a clamp that's big enough to get in there and squeeze that as it needs to be, okay? So I'm going to get some Colecos on that and then start welding these in, because I'm pretty confident that this tail panel is in the right spot, okay? And of course, we talked about this area down here earlier where this side is lining up pretty good. And as far as alignment over here, okay, kind of the same thing we saw on the other panel. I need to raise this up here, push this side out a little bit that way, and then this side, make sure it goes in all the way this way. And I still have some door adjustment I can get in there. So we are doing pretty awesome there. No fancy tricks needed or required. Now, I did mention earlier, I don't know if you could see it, okay, in the last episode about the quarter panels. I went ahead and took the quarter panels out because those were hindering the way things were lined up and going in, and things are doing much better now. So I got the new quarter panels. I haven't got those set on yet because I'm going to wait to get this in before I set those quarter panels, because I want to make sure they're in right. So I'm going to go ahead and burn in what I can here, leave the bottom undone until I can get it on the rotisserie, okay, and then start working that way, if that makes any sense, okay? So again, we're going to burn just a few portions on the quarter panel to get that set, okay? We're going to burn what we can before I can get it onto the rotisserie and start working that way, alrighty? So let's get things going. Things have been going pretty decently here on Project Fast Fish, and there are things that are standing out from things that have been done well, and there are things that are standing out that could have been done better. Now, if you paid attention to the last, well, I'll call it episode, but the last video, I pointed out at the very end some mistakes that had been made that needed to be corrected. One of those mistakes was in the rear trunk deck on the trunk panel extensions. And I went ahead and removed those. So you can see that right here. They are now gone. All right, I can stick my hand up through there. Yeah, they are gone. So I need to go ahead and reset or redo the ones that I took out. Now, the ones I took out, I had already burned in, okay? I was unable, unfortunately, to salvage the part. And that's very unfortunate because it meant going out and spending money. So sometimes when you make a mistake, it can be expensive. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and test fit our new panels to make sure that everything is still in alignment, everything is still good, and then we're going to continue with what's going on. Real quick, let's go ahead and talk about these little covers here. Now, these cover pieces, what they do, and I have one already installed as I was trying to test fit things, go right here. Now, if you're like me, you're like, where exactly do they go? Well, they don't reside here, but they reside in the back, kind of closing off the rear quarter panel here. And they serve as a gap or a spacer between the tail panel here and, of course, the rear quarter panel here. Now, what I had to do, and I'll use this as an example, is go ahead and, because the quarter panels were a little forward, I had to create a little relief here to allow this to fold down. And it required some mod, just a little tweaking over here and a tweaking here to kind of make it fit. And so what I've done is I wanted to go ahead and not attach it completely, but just attach it just on the quarter panel itself for now, because I still have to set in the trunk panel extensions. So with this piece on, I can now set those into place and go ahead and get that working. Now, if you're watching the video saying, hey Mike, those weren't in yet when you're doing the video, well, yeah, you're right, because these little panels here, these little pieces, these well, for lack of little terms, brackets or what have you, these body panel brackets, I realized that those had to go in as I was trying to figure out how exactly do they go in and troubleshoot it. I went ahead and set those, then I pulled them back out to set those in place. Now I can go and reset those. Now, as I'm working here, I'm going to not tack in these places down here or weld in these pieces down here. I am just simply going to clamp in the trunk panel extension just on the side here. And that will allow me to go ahead and basically get the top set here, finish the top area, get this on a rotisserie where I can get this more attention and give me some flexibility when it comes time to installing the rear valance. Now, as you can see, I can't install the rear valance because the the bracketry right here is in the way. So hopefully, as we start getting things together, I'll be able to finalize this stuff to get those on and together. So let's go ahead and get the other side done, and then we'll get to the rest of getting the quarter panel installed.